treasure. Despite being cracked, we hold treasure.
Yeah.
Despite being fragile, we hold treasure. Despite our manipulation that we go through, we hold treasure.
Yeah.
But you know, people have it twisted because they don't know the difference between treasure and the product of treasure. We say, well, I have joy now that I know Jesus. Yeah, that's just the product of the treasure. That's not the treasure. So, but I don't hate anybody like I used to, but that's the product of the treasure. That's not the treasure. But you say, well, I don't walk around with my pants hanging down, or I don't walk around and go to the same places I used to. Well, that's the product of the treasure. That is not the treasure. Well, you ask, what is the treasure? Well, if we go to verse 10, we can look and see what the treasure is. Always carrying in the body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be manifested in our bodies. It seems that the death of Jesus the Christ is the treasure that we hold. And when we hold this death, we always get the life of Jesus in our body. When we have the death of Jesus in our body, we get the life of Jesus in our body. This is the treasure. But this treasure, the death of Jesus, we are supposed to do something with this treasure. It seems that when we have the death of Jesus in our body, we need to go and tell somebody about his death and his life, his new life after he died, when he rose up again. The treasure, we ought to pour it out. If you don't believe me, it's in verse 15. Woo! For it is all for your sake. That as grace extends to more and more people, it may increase thanksgiving to the glory of God. Jesus ought to be poured out to the world. I'm reminded of a Chinese man who was leaving his village to go to the well to draw some water. He carried on his back two buckets, wooden buckets on his back. One bucket was completely new, had no blemish, nothing. The other one was worn and old and cracked and broken. Well, the new bucket was talking to the old bucket. He said, "You're worthless. You have no more purpose. You're broken. We can't use you to hold water at all. Why is he even taking you with us?" And so that broken bucket began to get depressed. And so when they went and drew the water, he saw and noticed that he, in fact, was not holding the water like he should. It was spilling out on the sides of the ground. And so he became even more depressed. And the new bucket said, "See, I told you you were worthless. I told you weren't good for anything. You can't be used anymore." Well, the Chinese man, after he got to the village, sat down and took the broken bucket and said to him, "Don't let the new bucket tell you that.
Where you going now?
You still have a purpose. I tell you what you do. Tomorrow we have to go get some water again. And what I want you to do is realize and be perceptive and know what you're doing and see what you're doing as we are walking." So the next day, the new bucket went to the old bucket and said, "You're worthless and you're still with us. You need to go ahead and just call it a day. Retire." And so when they went and got the water, as he began to walk back, he looked down. And he saw that again he was pouring out this water. But what he saw on his side were flowers and beautiful roses. But on the other side, all he saw were rocks and thorns. What am I saying to you? That even though you are broken, you take your brokenness as your testimony and tell people how you got over, and you will produce flowers and roses and fruit. Don't let nobody tell you you are worthless. Don't let nobody tell you you can't make it. Don't let nobody tell you your purpose has been aborted. God has something greater for you.
All right.
And when we understand this, we know that we can see God's surpassing power as we go back to verse 7. To show that the surpassing power belongs to God and not to us. When we have this treasure and we pour it out, we show other people that the power belongs to God. It is God's power that allows us to know we are overcome. 8 and 9 says, we are afflicted in every way, but not crushed. Yeah. Perplexed, but not driven to despair. We may be persecuted, but not forsaken. Struck down, but not destroyed. And let me go back to verse 10. Always carrying in the body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may be manifested in our bodies. Can I skip down to verse 15? For it is all for your sake, that as grace extends to more and more people, it may increase thanksgiving to the glory of God. We are afflicted but not crushed. Somebody in here may be cornered but not backed against the wall. Somebody might want to get you in the corner, but know that they can't corner you in the wall. You may be perplexed but not in despair. You might be confused about how life has made its turns. You may be confused about how God saved somebody like you and has yet to get to somebody else. But I want you to know that you ought not be depressed about your situation. Why? Because we hold that treasure that can be poured out. You may be persecuted but not forsaken. Everybody thinks that they're alone, but I want you to know you have never been left alone by God. God has always been right there. I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging for bread. That's what David said. I want you to know that you might be struck down but not destroyed. Somebody might try and swat you like a fly swatter, but they can't kill you. Somebody might try and crush you like a rolling pin, but they can't do it. And as I leave here, I want you to realize this last illustration. I started with the potter. And I want you to know there's an ending to that story. The potter, when he saw that the jars of clay were broken, people were telling him, throw them away. They serve no purpose anymore. But the thing is, the potter lived on the rich side of town. And so what the potter did was he went down to the poor side of town. And he left it in the town square. And it's evident to me that he had been doing this for some time because they knew the protocol. So about 30 minutes to an hour after he dropped these jars of clay, these broken pieces, down in the square, what began to happen is people began to pick them up. And so somebody saw something that looked like something that could hold water. They used it as a container for water. They saw something that looked like it could hold grain and seeds, and so they used it for grain and seed. Somebody thought they saw something that looked like a cup, so they used it for a cup. Someone saw something that looked like a gardening tool, so they used it as a gardening tool. And what I'm saying to you today is, although the world is telling you that you have no purpose and that there's no need for you, God says, let me go take you down to somebody that needs me and that needs you. And let me tell you that anybody that's not a Christian needs God. And so there is a lot of work to do here. And so what you have become is, you look like something that can hold water. And so now you hold the living water. You look like something that can hold seed and grain. And so now you hold the bread of life. You look like something that can hold a cup. And so now you look like you can hold the blood of the living God. And now you look like something that can till the ground. And so you have become a gardening tool, tilling the hearts of those that have hardened hearts. And somebody in here looks like they can hold water to pour on the ground. And so now you have become another gardening tool that waters those soft hearts once again. And so don't let anybody tell you that you have no purpose. Why? Because God, Jesus, died for you when he got down off that cross, and they put him in that borrowed tomb and left him there for 3 days. But on Sunday morning, when